Hello everyone, another pine tree to prune out. Those are the tools we're going to use, plus our silky handsaw and Felco pruners. This is a shore pine, Pinus contorta, and the last time I pruned this out was 4 or 5 years ago. It has grown quite a bit since then. I'm going to start out by removing any dead branches, crisscrossing branches, and duplicating branches, and also branches that are violating the overall shape of the tree, and try to start establishing some layers, some differentiation between the layers, so removing branches that droop down into layers below, so we can start getting a layered Tsukashi Japanese style look. Here the tree is about a third the way through the pruning. You can already see a bunch of branches on the ground, and we're starting to see light through the tree, starting to see the structure of the tree very nicely coming out. We're doing our pruning in December. We don't recommend doing this in the summertime. Too much stress on the trees, especially if you're taking out as much stuff as we are taking out. So here's the tree all finished, very natural look. We didn't do a lot of shaping on the crown. About 4 or 5 years ago, we had a really bad ice storm, knocked a bunch of branches out of this tree, and so the tree's a little bit misshapen, so we're letting it kind of try to fill back in. But you can see all the branches on the ground. A lot was taken out, but it's okay. It's this time of the year, and the tree can endure the stress, not a problem. If I'd done this kind of heavy pruning in the summertime, probably would have killed the tree, but or heavily stressed it. But at this time of the year, not a problem. I've done this many times. Despite the best video equipment, unfortunately, the camera doesn't pick up all the beautiful architecture and structure of the tree, but I was climbing up in the tree with a handsaw and doing a lot of hand pruning. We also knocked all the dead needles out, which really beautified the tree substantially. The challenge that we face when pruning trees like this is that we don't get to do them every year. The customers usually have us come in, once every 3 or 4 or 5 years, and so we don't get to do a really fine Japanese style, Tsukashi style pruning job, as would be the case if we got to get our hands on these trees every single year. So it's a little bit of a challenge to make them look good when they're only pruned so infrequently. Very few clients want to spend the money to prune these trees twice yearly as in the Japanese style to get it to look like those you find in a Japanese garden. In my own home Japanese garden, I prune my pines twice a year, spring and fall, as is done in an honest-to-goodness Japanese garden in the Japanese style. Here's the tree again with all of the debris cleaned up underneath it. And I do have a few clients where we can go in and prune their pines regularly, and so when that's the case, like every year or a couple times a year, we get the real good, nice, beautiful, stereotypical Japanese style look on the pine trees. But on a tree like this, we do the best we can with what we have and with what the client is willing to pay. Pruning pines in the authentic Japanese way twice yearly is something that very few people want to pay for, and very few arborists, landscapers, gardeners know how to do. This is not something that's easily come by in the United States. You have to study long and hard to learn the techniques. There aren't very many books, very few videos, and unless you have somebody to mentor you, it's going to take years to master that style. That's why I have my own Japanese garden, like I said, so I can do that kind of work on my own pines, and for a few select customers that want to have an honest-to-goodness Japanese garden. Now, directly across the street from the pine we just pruned out is another pine for somebody else. I did not prune out that pine. That pine was pruned out by somebody this summer. They over pruned it. They pruned it the wrong time of the year. It's got a lot of needle drop. It's the same kind of pine, a Pinus contorta. You look at the needles, they're chlorotic. The tree is terribly stressed. It very well may die. I have brought pine trees like this back from the edge of death that other arborists have mispruned by deep root fertilizing them and giving them special care. But this tree, the needles are dropping off. The needles are very yellowy looking, as you can see, very thin, because again, it was over pruned during the summertime, wrong time of the year, by somebody that did not know what they were doing. And there's my pine tree across the street that was pruned properly at the right time of the year. So Bottom line, very important to find the right arborist who knows what they are doing and has the experience and understands trees. And to be honest with you, there are very, very few arborists, in fact, almost none in the metropolitan area where I work. I get calls from all around the United States, people asking who in their area does this kind of work. Sadly, very few do. Thank you for watching. Until next time, arrivederci.